Well, I am late today, late as all hell, but welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Been praying to the porcelain god all night as I have a bit of food poisoning, I guess, and feeling good now. Actually did get a nice night of sleep, but slept in and woke up about 3 hours later than my traditional 5 a.m. wake up time. So good morning, everyone. Anyways, plenty to talk about today, following up on Bitcoin's weekly closure, the one piece of information to rule them all that was going to supersede everything else we spoke about yesterday. And what else do we want to speak about? Also, the lower term time frames, of course, too, and a little bit of futures action for today. And with that said, I would like to wish you the best, and the happiest. Let's get into the Krown chain application over here. This is going to be a day where I definitely need to enlist the help of some good old coffee. So excuse me while I take a sippy sip. Feels good, ma'am. Anyways, looking at the Krown chain application over here, which can be found at app.krownchain.net, and it is 100% free, so take advantage of it. And it's going to go over an actual massive overhaul relatively soon too, which we're all really excited about. Just a little bit of insight into that. You'll actually be able to set your own alerts for, most things, things that TradingView wouldn't allow you to. Anyways, looking at the open interest, we actually do see open interest rising up another 200 million from yesterday to today, and over the weekend we actually saw it rise up about 300 million accumulatively, which is rather interesting because, well, we do seem to have another base of open interest correlated with price action, 2.5 billion to the downside on this current massive structure, which would be all the way down to about 16,500-ish region, and then the current high of this run thus far in the mid to low $19,000 region at 3.25 billion. And what else do we see on top of that? Or sorry, actually, what else could we say on top of that? Well, with open interest being added as Bitcoin does move to the upside here, now not necessarily volume is falling as well, but it does suggest that perhaps this actually could be a little bit of a bear trap, as we speculated yesterday, but still wasn't necessarily my main interpretation, and I wanted to defer to the weekly closure, of which, well, we'll check that in a second here, but to spoil a bit of surprises, certainly a possibility as we do go into the trading week now. Bitcoin dominance still hanging around that 62% marker, not really much to talk about there, but I imagine that altcoins benefiting from Bitcoin's greater range as they gain a small amount back, I suppose. Need another sippy sip over here too, and the fear ingredient index also coming down 1 point from an 89 to an 88, which is rather interesting, seeing as Bitcoin was more or less just straight fucking vertical yesterday. Anyways, going over here to the data tab, what do we see? Any canaries today? No, I don't think so. At least for the funny rate, definitely not. We do see FMX, nope, not even that much out there, and everything else hanging around 0.01%, so nothing to do with that. And then the fear ingredient index still in the extremes greedy zone. And we've been there for about a month now. And to be fair, that has actually been in the past about the times when major highs actually have been put in. So I do still think that it's very possible that Bitcoin actually is putting in, at the very least, a little bit of a trappy trap on the other side for Bitcoin right now. But I need to take another sip before I finish this thought. There we go. Okay, cool. So with that in mind, we're going to go and do price action charts themselves. But before that, I should remind myself to talk about all of the sales that are going on for the next 2 days until the 3rd of December. And that is for 20% off on every program, everything that we offer right now. Of course, as always, watch the videos that accompany them because they are going to go into deep detail and explaining who they're for and who they're not for. And I really think it's really important to both myself and yourself, of course, as well, if you're going to, be dedicating both your time and major financials as well to learn something like this, to actually figure out if it's for you to begin with. As always, I like to say on these videos, just very briefly, make sure that you have enough time. Understand that these do take quite a long time as well. It's no magic pill. I'm not going to be that person who's on a fucking YouTube ad saying, you need to buy this right now, otherwise you're going to be fucking poor and you're never going to, get the love of your life that you ever wanted in your life anyways. So something like that. I don't know. I got this YouTube ad yesterday that was just like the most egregious fucking, in your face marketing that I just absolutely hate. I understand that I don't need to sell these things. I actually do make my money from trading, but if you are the type of person who actually is looking to go down that, understand that they take a long time. These programs are, 30 plus longs for both the TA program and the options program. This one being a little bit more of a steep learning curve. And then on top of that, what else did I want to say? It's going to take a long time. For the most part, I typically see people take about a year before they get consistently profitable. And that's for the people who actually put in the work. So it's going to require a lot of work on your own behalf. Of course, the neophytes initiation is a lot more remedial. That would be a good intro if you're very much undecided, but you want a little bit of a taste. Just dip your toesy-woesies into it. And of course, that will actually give you a discount on the TA program program anyways, so it's, it would be no loss if you were to upgrade at some point. And then the PineScript Mastery, that's from Mr. Mournfall, the coder of the Jewel, on how to make your own indicators in PineScript. Then we got a partners tab over here with Mr. Caretaker RSI, which is now a lifetime commitment, meaning that you buy it once, you get it for life, no longer annual. And on top of that, we got Mr. Jackie's group Psychology over here. That is a very self-contained group, a very small group where Jack will actually go over your trades every week and speak it out with you. Really, really helpful. And the results that people have been bringing back from that have reported back to me have been really, 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 really good. So I'm happy to endorse that. And then also Jack has his own program, his video program on just straight up psychology. So that is all there for you, all on sale. And it's time to stop shilling myself and getting some actual chart action over here. And oh fuck, I forgot the other one as well. Bybit is sponsoring 2 of the programs, meaning that if you sign up to my link in the description below with Bybit, then you will be entered in to win for a chance to win the TA program on Wednesday. I think they choose they'll choose two winners and let me know, and then I can add their access. But yes, it's there for you. Of course, there has to be some in it for them as they want you to deposit. But I actually have been using Bybit recently, and I actually do quite like it. So I can endorse it at least for what it's worth right now. Of course, you're not going to find me on like a trading competition or something like that. I think that's where I draw the line as far as, aggressive marketing and, realistic trading actually goes. But I do very much appreciate, they're doing that for this community. Anyways, let's see. Okay, what else we got over here? Yes, here's the weekly. Here's the big piece of information, the one piece of information to override everything else that we spoke about yesterday, and that was the weekly closure. And we actually did close above the top side trend band, which is going to bring up the potential that this is very much possibly a bull trap that we're looking at right here, and Bitcoin actually could continue onwards and upwards for this current rally. Now, do I think that that's still the main idea with this? It is a possibility just because of the way that we closed yesterday. However, personally speaking, I would be still erring on the side of caution, but as always, there has to be, ranges that we can judge on lower term timeframes that is going to denote whether this is, whether I should be looking for essentially new all-time highs or not, as we're so fucking close already. So with that in mind, yes, this condition was met. I believe that we are also closing a 2-day today as well. The 2-day does look like it wants to probably pop up a little bit more here. Let's see exactly when this one is closing. It is closing actually tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and the 3-day is actually same thing as well. That's strange. I could have sworn this lined up on the second one, or sorry, on the last one too. I just got a notification, 037, girls of your city .online. Nice. All right, sweet. Finally, I too can have some love. Anyways, sometimes I like conversating with some of these comment scammers, because I guess they're not bots, because they actually respond in somewhat of a coherent way. All right, so on to our regular charts over here. And looking at Bitcoin, let's follow up on yesterday's short-term time frame analysis. And wow, I couldn't have been more wrong yesterday, or at least it's not necessarily that I was wrong yesterday. It's more importantly that I didn't even consider that I didn't even give targets out if Bitcoin was going to take out 18,250 to the upside, which did, to be fair. Getting a 2-hour closure over here, and technically speaking, I should be targeting the next liquid zone, which we can make a nice little zoney zone over here. Actually, some a little bit more like this. It's going to be between the last breakdown area of about 18.8 and 18.850-ish region. So I'm going to put a nice little box over there. And yes, I probably would be looking for this run to graze this area up over here. But regardless of whether I'm bearish or bullish on the greater picture right now, I would be cognizant of a likely pullback within this region, anywhere within this region. I mean, you could even make the argument that we pretty much already got there at 18,650-ish region. However, I do think that it probably has another stab up higher and then plays out a pullback. Now, where would pullback targets be? Obviously, short term, that's going to be 18,250, the same breakout area that we saw yesterday. And, after maybe a short-term bounce there, I would be looking for things to likely come back down and base around the 17,900 pivot that we saw over the weekend as well. I'm still very skeptical of this price action actually, and I would not really be willing to get like super full-on mega bullish, bullish dildos just all over my head and everything like that until Bitcoin, at the very least on like a 4-hour, does close back above 18.9. I know this sounds a little bit ridiculous, but I do think that at least for myself, it's better to err on the side of caution right now before considering potentially another long-term trade if we do break back above that region. So of course, this is not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but for right now, I am actually still just looking to be a range trader because I am very much cognizant of any sort of trappy behavior to the upside right here. And I'm sure if we throw on a Fibonacci retracement right here too, I imagine we're probably at one of the major fibs or maybe around there. And what do you know? We're right around the 236, which would be in line with actually that 18.8 pivot. We see the 382 kind of coming out of the last one that we just saw right there. In fact, let me just make sure that this is accurate for this time frame. Let's do it like this. Boom. Let's do it on closures right here too. And there we go. Yeah, line it up a little bit better. 0.5 right around 17.9. 618 right around 17.5. What the fuck is that number? 17.6. Yeah, so all these are lining up with former pivots. So I do like this. And technically speaking, if we're going to brush against the 236, which you could argue that pretty much already got there, whether it goes another 100 or bucks to the upside and actually officially tags it. I really don't have a strong opinion on it. It looks like it probably does do that, however, but if that's going to be your algo target right there, then very likely we do at the very least come back down and swipe around the 0.5. Keep in mind though that CME is going to be having a major gap right now. Obviously, this is not going to this is not going to be anything secretive. Everyone's got this on their everyone's got this on their fucking charts right now. There's no secret anymore, and or not that it ever was, but I would still keep a keen eye on that $17,000 region right here, as that would be your gap fill. And let's see what it looks like on a daily just to confirm. Yep, still a little bit higher than that, but fair enough, within that range, basically high 16,000, low 17,000 bucks. And if I did have to call it right now, do I think that Bitcoin comes back down there before anything else, meaning for the continuation onto the upside or the downside? Well, obviously to the downside, if that is going to be the ultimate route anyways, yes, I do think so. So I still am not in any major rush right now. However, here's one way that you would know that Bitcoin is just mega bullish, and here's how you know that Bitcoin is just fucking mega bullish, and this is and I'm just wasting my time with this right now, and that would be this. Okay, so what would confirm that? Any sort of a daily closure basically above the last major meltdown on CMEs, which was 19,250 to 19,300. If that does happen, this is going to be a runaway gap. That's going to be a professional gap, and we're very unlikely to return to that gap. And those are the ones that actually sometimes do never get retested. Or at the very least, not nearly around. But how often do those things happen? Once in a blue moon, I would say. Very, 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 very rare to be to put it into other words. Has it ever happened on Bitcoin? Actually, no. We've never really seen it on Bitcoin to date. Every gap has been filled, so it does happen in traditional markets. Yes, I have seen these things before, but it's very rare. And in this case right here, there actually is a potential for that, but we still would need to see a little bit more. Daily closure above this last breakdown area right here would do that. And the reason why that is so damn important is because not only would it just confirm that is a professional gap, but it means that we're going to run the other way, meaning to the upside, very fucking aggressively. And this run is not in any way, shape, or form, going to be done if that condition is met. Now, am I leaning towards that happening? No, but obviously need to have preparations for that, because as you've seen, my opinion is wrong all the fucking time. Technical analysis and defining these levels, that is what is relevant, or at least what I hope would be relevant, because that is something that can be documentable and executable over time. Oh man, that is fucking good. Cue Lexington Steel. All right. Okay. So let's go back into the regular charts over here. Or actually, while we're on CMEs, see what they're looking like right now. 4 hour showing for momentum actually turning back up here. So yes, if I did have to call it right now, I do think that Bitcoin does stab a little bit higher towards that 18.8 level on spot price action, but I would be cognizant of some sort of a short-term, at the very least, a short-term pullback from there. Could it be the next local high before another drive down? Yes. And I also want to be transparent with this as well. Yesterday was the first time in an extremely long time where I actually did take a trade over the weekend, because I really liked that 18,250-ish region. Obviously got taken out of that trade relatively fast, but man, one of those times where we really haven't seen something like that in a long time, to be fair. So actually took a little bit of a loss over the weekend on my first weekend trade in fucking ages, and another reminder: Krown, don't fucking trade on weekends, Jesus Christ. Anyways, looking at momentum oscillators for the 4 hour right here, what do we see? We see historical volatility percentile going into a contraction phase, so that is going to be encompassing this whole area, as you can see. Obviously putting in the lows thus far at about 16.5 and creating a range between there and about, let's call it 18.8. Remember, 18.8 was very much relevant for the downside on the first major drive down. That was our first major one that kicked off that last major dump right here on this breakage of this blue box territory. So a lot of the time, these sorts of areas will get retested, and I would still be looking for a reaction around that region, and that is why I'm still very much hesitant here. But it is possible now that we could see, further continuation on this same drive, this same week actually. But again, this area right here is going to be that sort of gatekeeper for that, at least in my opinion right now. And if Bitcoin does get back above this region right here, even on a 4-hour dildo closure, I do think that it'd probably be relevant for that area. I'd be looking for a retest of the prior all-time high, or retest of this high right here, and then probably new all-time highs. There'd be nothing to be bearish about at all whatsoever, and I would actually be probably looking for another long-term upside trade if that were to happen. Again, Bitcoin playing out massive ranges right here, so naturally speaking, there's a lot of inherent risk if you are going to be playing these long-term formations, because where do you manage risk in something like that? Well, technically speaking, where's your last major low? All the way down here, another clean almost $3,000 away from current price action. Well, 2,000 from current, actually. I think that's the last of my damn coffees. All right, well, fair enough. Anyways, looking at momentum oscillators for the 4-hour time frame, what do we see? So we do see 4-hour Stokes getting a little bit tired up here. Crisscrossing around, but technically still to the upside as it is right now. I want to see them officially cross the downside. However, we can see that this is once again one of the highest reads that we've seen in really quite some time. In fact, this read right here that we got on the 6th of November was pretty much the highest that I can even find on the board thus far, and I don't believe we even got higher than that in like prior runs in 2019 especially, but maybe 2017. Anyways, my point is that typically this this sort of a read does denote a bit of a local high. So I am again very defensive within this region, and if I did have call right now, I do believe that Bitcoin will pull back from this region. Everyone's getting very, 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 very excited once again, and I think that I could get on that side as well. But I do think that this is kind of your another area of caution, so to speak. Looking at 4-hour RSI, what do we see? Played out a little bit of bullish divergence yesterday, coming back down. I'd be looking for this one to come back down and test around the exponential of this. It's not a bad thing. It's still constructive overall, but short term would be down, yes. So again, kind of constructing a bit of a case right now. We do see 3-hour already doing a little bit of the same thing. We do see 3-hour Stokes, basically still just fucking straight to the goddamn moon. 3-hour RSI, same thing over here. A little bit of a short term down to test around the edge of the bullish control zone is what I'd be looking for. And more importantly, we do see 3-hour HVP actually going into a contraction phase. Fuck, I forgot to mention as well, I'll probably be on Twitch Day. There we go. All right, so I got everything now. But yes, so what does that likely align with? I do think maybe another slight stab to the upside here, but assuming that 18.8 is a rejection, I would be looking for Bitcoin to come back down tenderly towards these same pivots that we worked our way up on over the weekend. So 18.250, 17.9, and 17. Let's call it 17.6, and then we got this one right here at 7.86 at 17.1, and then we got, of course, 16.5 for the prior base, which still very much relevant in my opinion, as well as I drag this one over. There we go. Okay, let's see what else we got on the 2-hour. Do we see this one already kind of leading the other ones in? No, in fact, actually pointing back up. Jesus Christ, man, powerful Bitcoin boolas. And whoops, let's actually go through everything else as well. Yeah, contracting all the way down, but we're not quite there just yet. I do think that we likely will be looking at a move somewhere around the open of, or sorry, somewhere around US Open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. This is contracting rather aggressively right now. You can just kind of visualize it likely coming back down to a single digit read, maybe late today, early tomorrow, for myself over here in the Eastern European time zone. Bi-hourly RSI, again, a little bit extended over here for the short term, but long term good. Hourly, what do we see over here? We do see hourly Stokes looking like they do want to have a bit of cross down, so we do see everything kind of within the same area right now, hinting at a little bit of lost momentum, but not quite there just yet. So what does that align with? I do think that it very easily could have another swipe to the upside, but I do think that at the same time, my first disposition for that swipe to the upside likely does get pushed back. We can check out Caretaker's Magic for that, see if that does line up with any sort of ranges here as well. And what do you know, hourly showing the top side of the 2.5, right under actually 18.8 at 18.750-ish region, and that actually is your sell number one right there too. And by the way, we're pretty much ready on this. I'm just waiting for Mr. Bornfall to get everything good to go on the app. But I actually have recorded all the videos for this and just waiting to release it, because this is this is basically something that has automated my own fucking strategies for myself, and I like it. I quite like it. Looking at the bi-hourly, yeah, we do see sell number one at 18.8 as well, so I do like the confluence right there as well. And again, I would be looking for this essentially to probably have one more stab to the upside, and then play out a bit of a pullback from there, and then kind of quote the relevant regions to the downside that we spoke about before. Let's go through the medium-term timeframes, like the 12-hour. Yep, same thing here. Kind of coming back up and retesting what would be this major horizontal before that big breakdown. I think it's a little more obvious on a 12-hour, right at the 236, just under 18.8. Anything else that we want to speak about on the 12-hour here, though? Yeah, we spoke about this over the weekend. 12-hour. Hidden bullish divergence playing out. However, what would be the next move on this? Well, I mean, yesterday the extension was 18,250. We obviously got that. So, I mean, what's going to be your next target off this? Your next target is actually going to be 19,300. If 18,800 is taken out. So that's another $500 move. And after that, it's just, well, we have to remember that it does change around the higher term timeframes to once again be in trending mode. I mean, this is your next higher low right here. So fair enough. And that's all the while coming alongside of 12-hour Stokes popping back up, rejecting the bearish control zone. Nice and good. And historic volatility percentile still telling me, hey, it's more likely that we go into a contraction phase here than not, but technically speaking, moving average still is having a nice positive slope, and you could say that this is, or you could make the argument that as long as that's happening, we are in expansion phase. But I do think that it's more likely that Bitcoin probably plays out a range here more than anything. My personal opinion, and again, I don't trade my personal opinion, but if I'm just kind of like speaking offhand here because we are on the T Nerd session right now, is this. If Bitcoin actually is going to put in a low right here and rally off this to the fucking moons once again, I don't think that it happens from this area right here. I think that, or it could happen from this area right here, but the point that I'm trying to make is that it would likely take a long time. It would likely put in a bit, probably put in like a week or two of sideways action and then flip back around maybe like late December or something like that. Having another blow off from here is likely just going to lead to a greater blow off, meaning higher price actions, but also a much deeper and probably prolonged retracement over time. Do you think that would be much more healthy from a long-term perspective to play out this area from here rather than that? But that's a personal opinion. So again, doesn't mean that it needs to happen, and I will still be trading off the levels that I denoted earlier. However, if we're just going off of just market history, that would be relevant, of course. Looking at daily, what do we see as well? Daily's looking pretty good here. In fact, if the daily's saying anything, it's saying, Krown, you are wrong and you need to get long, sir. You need to get long AF, long in the pants, sir. Anyways, daily Stokes, could they flip back around? Well, let's go check out Caretaker's indicator. Actually, will tell this as well. Let's see. Nope, it won't turn back around until we actually get back above 19.7-ish region. So that is rather interesting. So that's actually going to be nosediving as long as we're essentially living below the prior high on this run. On top of that, we do have hidden bullish divergence here, and this usually will at the very least test the exponential, so that would be your next drive higher, to be fair. And then historical volatility percentile is still in the process of expanding here too, at least for now. The moving average on this is starting to really flatten out, so it is, like I said, it is cautionary time. Basically, my thoughts boil down to this: either local high gets put in at 18.8 and we work our way back down, to like low 17,000 overall, or at the very least, or blast right on through and it's fucking Boolaw's time once again, and it's going to be a green Christmas, I guess. So fair enough. Granny Bucks once again buying some Bitcoins, and I guess maybe it will be a little bit of a less awkward Christmas chat, I suppose. Anyways, let's see. Any badass grandmas out there, by the way? I'm curious if there's badass grandmas listening to this bitch right now. Badass grandmas, I summon thee. I want to talk with you, because actually there used to be this woman. I don't know if she was actually a grandma, but her name was Crypto Grandma, and she was actually a really nice person. So I don't know if she's still watching these videos, but fair enough. Anyways, 2-day rate. Oh, wow. 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 The 2-day is, well, the 2-day could very easily make me bullish as well. Yeah, still 18.8 is the big pivot there. Very big pivot right there. But the 2-day is, well, it quite literally is bullish. In fact, if anything, I need to reflect on this for a second. This is also the unfortunateness of doing these videos on the first thing in the morning. Yeah, if there's one thing that's making me mega bullish coming out of this region too, it's not just the weekly closure, it's also the 2-day closure as well. This is a very good setup right here. I'd still be going off of the same areas that I said before, but this is, this combined with the weekly closure above the top side Toronto demand are the two biggest bullish things happening right now. 3-day, obviously closing tomorrow night as well. I still want to see where this expansion comes from, but thus far, expansion coming alongside of momentum also just turning down. I'm still, no, I still stick with what I said earlier. This is a time to be cautious. This is one of those times where, everyone gets kind of sucked back in, and it's like in hindsight, it seems so obvious, but in the moment, it's like, oh my God, is it going to go again? It very well could, but have these levels, marked off here, because I do think that, it's just more appropriate to play this conservatively. And understand this, like a dumb bull is going to make more money than a smart bear, or just a smart person in a bull market. Obviously, I've been trading for about a decade now, and the thing with that is that someone who is, just fucking degenerately long, they're going to make more money than me in this market right here. But the purpose is to keep it when the market actually turns around. Similar to what we saw in this segment over here, in this segment over here, and these actually were, by and large, my some of my best years trading, I do think that does matter to actually have as a skill. But for right now, I just seen like a lot of people like get pissed at like Moon Boys making a shit ton of money. It's like, well, just understand that, yeah, they are going to make more money than you right now, but if you have a skill, if you have the skill of trading, then that means that you get to keep that money. Those paper profits are just that, paper, until you actually do realize them. So that is why I still find value in this, even in this sort of market right here, and why I don't just get like blindly long. But if I'm just being straight up, am I going to make the most money? No, I'm not. In fact, I certainly did not in 2017. One of the things that I had to really learn over here was like in cryptocurrency, you can hold things for a little bit longer. It's okay. Things can get a little bit crazier, because at this point over here, I was like just fully transitioning into crypto after being an options market maker. So there's a lot of I wouldn't say small, but definitely some nuanced things to learn coming into this market here. But and that was certainly one of them. But again, it's at the end of the day, this channel, of course, is focused on like traders and people looking to do this more as like a skill, as a living, rather than just like cheerleading, the moonshot, which is fun. But there's plenty of other channels out there who are going to do a much better job than me at that. I can put back on the wig though, and we can do a little bit of that action. Anyways, okay, so I think we just I think we got through pretty much everything there that I wanted to get through. Regardless of whatever happens here, I do think that Bitcoin at the very least is going to come back down and test 17.7 or 17.9. Extremely likely. I do again, regardless of whether I'm bullish or bearish here. So I would still be looking for a pullback, basically from where we are right now, just slightly higher, like at 18.8 or so. However, if we do see a closure above 18.8, even on a 4-hour, then that idea goes out the wayside, and I immediately target another $500 extension. Sorry, $600 extension. No, $500 extension to 19.3, potentially all the way up to 19.4. So 500 to $600 to the upside, and then we can talk about further upside targets from there. I mean, this is, I suppose, the moment of truth coming this week. So time to pay attention. Keep in mind, though, tonight, I believe it is tonight at least. It is tonight. Yeah, it is tonight. We have the monthly closure, so let's check this one out as well. Now, obviously, I really want to see how it responds tomorrow with the major indicators that I typically look on the monthly. But let's just put this. Let's put this into. Where's my chart? There it is. Let's put this in perspective here. The monthly is going to have a chance to do something that it has not done in years, and that is close above the topside Trailing band. And I would say it's rather likely here. The topside Trailing band currently hovering around 15,200. And what I would say coming into the month of December, which I actually do think the month of December will still pull it back, is wherever the topside Trailing band is, I'd be looking for things to pull back there. Where could the top side Trailing band potentially end at on the next monthly? Well, judging by this right here, seeing as we went from 13.3 all the way to 15.2 in the month of October to November. From November to December, we could very easily rise up another $1,000, maybe even $2,000. But that would put things right around, maybe mid to low $16,000 region. That is where CME gap is as well. So again, we do still see plenty of things suggesting that Bitcoin likely does come back down around there early December, very likely. However, long term, this is not to get confused with being bearish. In fact, quite literally opposite. We just started trending on the fucking monthly Trailing bands. In October, we closed above for the first time in years, since 2017. And the last time that we closed above these regions in 2015 to 2017 run over here, I mean, these are all these major massive runs to the upside. So while I do think that Bitcoin likely would still play out a pullback, it would raise the targets on that pullback and still, the people looking for, 12,000, 13,000, whatever it's being, I think that would be very unlikely at that point, and Bitcoin probably does base out at this 16.5 level. However, that would also come alongside another test back down there. So again, I'm still not really seeing a reason to be ultra aggressive here, as these things, the market doesn't play itself out in one day. But it would certainly very much solidify, or I shouldn't say solidify, but really strengthen the case of 16.5 being the next major macro low. So keep an eye on that, as this is rather powerful here. And then we could talk about targets into the $20,000 region. And I know that sounds fucking crazy, but at this point, it's almost like you should just forget the numbers on the right-hand side over here and just look at structure, because they're only going to just, give you like fucking googly eyes. It's gonna look silly. Okay. So we got through all of that. What about CMEs? Obviously the monthly is not gonna make much sense here, but there you go. Kind of the same chart. Oh, spoiler. Remember when we talked about this? This was the TA nerd session like months ago. We spoke about the inverted head and shoulders right here. Yeah, that target's been hit. That TA bullshit works out every once in a while now, doesn't it? Let's see. What are we doing on futures? So we did say coming into this week, based off the closures of last week, very likely new all-time highs. I stick with what I said. I'm still bullish on NASDAQ, looking for a retest of the prior high and new all-time highs coming into December. This is a very good chart right here. Any sort of a closure above 12.3 today, I'm mega bullish coming into December and January, actually, if that would happen. SPY futures, same thing. It's already there. It's already got new highs. In fact, Jesus Christ, man. Actually, no, it does not, but it's retested the prior high. I'm still looking for the same thing here as well. New all-time highs on this one, very likely, probably even this week. Again, mediated by the closure, but tonight's closure, if that happens, I am very bullish coming into December. And where would be my next targets on top of this? Well, let's take an extension here. Where's my extension tools? Where are you, little fuckers? There we go. Alrighty. And let's see what we got. All right, so we're currently at the 1 spot 414, but that's not really like a base area. The 2 spot is going to be 3,800. The 272 is 3,900. Those are going to be the next targets if the monthly does close above. So the market that never goes down. And what is this all happening alongside of? Dixie breaking down. Motherfucking bastard is destroying my lifestyle here in Europe. Well, it's not all that terrible. I mean, realistically, it just fluctuates a few couple percents, but my dollar is worth less. Bastards, motherfucking bastards. All right, what else do we want to check out? Let's go check out Mr. Beaterall, perhaps, or yeah, we don't really have any much else to be looking at. Link really quickly out of the weekly close here. Yeah, if Bitcoin does head back on down, I'd be looking for 1230, but I'd be looking for a bounce there. Let's see what the daily looks like here too. I'm still probably be looking for, this is your traditional pullback area right here too. Yeah, I probably do think that it does pull back from this region. What about, where's Beaterall? Where are you, little fucker? There you are, found you, 585 looks like on the highs. A little bit higher than that. Jesus Christ, that is a powerful chart right there. My God, if it does want to swipe up again, $600 where I'd be looking towards. However, if it pulls back with Bitcoin, same relevant target's going to be like 560, 540, and then we got 520, and then of course the prior base at 500, all going to be relevant. But I'd look for Bitcoin to kind of set the tone here. And then I think it's time for me to go back on to Bitcoin, actually. And it's time to wrap this bitch up. So with that in mind, actually, let's go back on over here. Let's try this one more time. Let's wrap this bitch up. All right, Bitcoin on the weekly did close above the top side trend band, so it actually is very much possible that Bitcoin actually could have put in a bit of a bear trap here. However, I would put significant interest on the monthly closure coming tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time, as this is going to decide whether Bitcoin, or whether I'm essentially bullish coming into December, which, to spoil the surprise, unless we have a $3,000 dump from here to 15,200, which is currently the high of it, I am essentially bullish. Now, that also does imply that we probably do come back down and test it into December, and coming back down and test it, as it would likely rise up another $1,000, just judging from our last rise from October to this month of November. Probably does rise up another little bit over $1,000, and that'd put it where? That'd put it at the mid $16,000 region, which would very much be in line with the gap on CMEs right now in the upper $16,000, lower $17,000 region, correlated with spot price action in that same area as well. So if we do go down to the lower term timeframes on Bitcoin right now, that's where actually all the fun is being had. And And while we did, or sorry, while I necessarily didn't get the same thing that I was looking for yesterday, I was or at that 18,250-ish region. That did transpire that next move up to about 18.8. Now, the same sort of implications with this, except this time, if Bitcoin does close above 18.8, especially on a higher term time frame, could I use a 4 hour as well? Yes, but I'd probably be looking for a pullback off this region in line with the 236 fib as well. And if that area is going to pull back, your next algo target typically is going to be the 0.5, which is currently sitting at 17,900. So as it stands right now, I am still very much cautious on this current run as long as below 18.8, but it is possible that we do see continuation first before any sort of major pullback. Based off the way that the weekly closed. Do I think that that's likely to happen? I think that it's less likely to happen than this range just kind of going on for a little bit longer. But all of this setup is superseded by tonight's closure on for November leading into December, which is going to make me bullish for the next month of December for probably new all-time highs after a bit of a pullback here. So it would essentially solidify that 16.5 could very much be the low for this next major area or basin action right here. That would constitute certainly a front run from, I think, everyone's favorite target, about 12,000 or 13,000 bucks. Quite nice how that works out sometimes. And more importantly, it offers up a nice little documentable way to be analyzing this right now. So as long as we're living below this area right here, even on a 4 hour delta closure, I'd like to see something a little bit higher than that. But fair enough. If Bitcoin does close above if Bitcoin does close above 18.8 on a 4 hour, I would extend this run towards the prior high at 19.3. So that is a $500 trade. And then I'd want to come back and see if there's any sort of higher term timeframes like a 12 hour or daily closing above that region as well, which would essentially just make me bullish for new all-time highs, if you want to call it that. But for right now, I'm essentially looking for a pullback based upon this region. First bounce area would be the 382 right around 18,250, the same breakout that we saw from yesterday. And then we got the 0.5 right here at 17.9. And then, of course, the 618 right here at 17.6. All the same areas that were relevant on the way up would be relevant on the way down. If I had to call it right now, I do think that Bitcoin probably does swipe up another one right here and then comes back down, and we put in another base, assuming that the December closure is nice. Hello, Sleeping Beauty. And then I'd be looking for, then I want to see that one in real time. But depending upon tonight's closure, which is looking like it very likely does happen above that critical level, then I probably do look at that as the next major long opportunity. However, with that said, I would like to wish you the best of the best and the happiest of the happiest. Take care, and until next time.